Hello, everybody, and welcome to Table Talk. My name is Joni Rampola, one of the registered licensed dietitians with your Giant and Martin's. And today we are talking about nutrition for aging as part of our life cycle nutrition series. So we're so glad you're here joining us. And I want to welcome my special guest, Latanya. Latanya, do you want to take a minute to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so very much. My name is Latanya Clark. I am a registered dietitian licensed here in the state of Maryland. I am with the Maryland Department. I am with the Maryland Department of Aging. I come from, I've got about 25 years or more of experience in working in health and nutrition, working from hospitals to now I have the pleasure of overseeing the congregate and home delivered meals for the state of Maryland. So I'm happy to be here and happy to talk about such an important subject.
It is an important subject, and I feel like people don't even realize that nutrition changes as we age. So I want to start off by asking you a question about how do our nutritional needs change as we age?
So, Joni, as we get older, our metabolism slows down and our muscles, they start to naturally decline and our bodies don't absorb nutrients as well as they used to. And especially things like B12 and calcium. So what it means is that we need fewer calories, but more nutrients. So quality over quantity becomes the key.
Excellent. Yeah, can you explain how muscle loss also affects aging and how nutrition can play a role in preventing that muscle loss?
Sure. Muscle loss, which is also called sarcopenia, it's a common part of aging and it leads to weakness and falls and we can lose our sense of independence if we're not careful and and pay attention to our nutrition. And our nutrition really does help stay off that uh, put it off in the future is what I should say. One of the most important things about muscle loss is protein. We have to make sure that we are getting enough protein at each meal. So that's like around about 20, 30 grams at each meal, which is about the size of a deck of cards. It's easier if you can think of it like that, where you could maybe hold it in the palm of your hand. So you're looking at chicken, lean beef, fish, things like salmon. But you can also hit this target with a cup of Greek yogurt or a heaping cup of beans. And focusing on adding in protein-rich foods will help maintain muscle strength and help you support your daily activities and help you continue to feel independent and active.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. And I feel people get like protein at dinner where I hear they mostly struggle as breakfast,
Exactly, exactly.
right? Because I'm not going to eat a cup of beans usually at breakfast.
No, but a nice cup of Greek yogurt is certainly a good breakfast choice.
All right, excellent. So I have a customer question about plastic in food and suggestions if we need to decrease it in our body.
That is not really an area that I can really address. As far as the plastics, I know that there's been a lot of talk about it, a lot of research about it. I know a lot of people have switched over to using glass containers, but I really would have to defer that to someone else that would really be able to address that. That wouldn't. I can talk about the nutrition. I'm not too sure about the
Yeah.
plastic.
And I feel like there's some, plastic exposure that we can't get rid of. It's even,
We almost can't avoid
the
it.
lining of whatever our
Yeah,
food comes to us in. Yeah.
exactly.
Another customer question, will protein powders help with muscle loss as we age?
So protein powder is just a concentrated form of the protein, and it's not for everyone. Not everyone likes it. You have to mix it really, really well. But protein powders can be an expensive source of protein as well, when you can really just have, some eggs, or, again, the yogurt, or just getting the lean meats. And also when you're taking in when you're taking in the food for your protein, you're getting a lot of other nutrients that are added in as well. So protein powders, if you like them, okay, but I prefer food.
Yeah, they can help. They'll preserve muscle. It's a source of
Right.
protein. So you've got
Mhm.
to throw a scoop into your oatmeal in the morning to get it to be a protein
Sure.
meal. That can work.
Right. And for some people who have chewing issues, the protein powder might be a good way for them to go.
Yep. And then a customer is saying, can you talk about some vegan foods to get enough protein?
So when you're looking at vegan foods, you're looking at, they make a wide variety of vegan proteins that you can find in your supermarket section. You're also looking at tofu, which is a good source of protein. You can look at the different kind of milks that are available that also have a little bit of protein in it. And then you have your traditional combination of beans and lentils, black beans, and mixing those with, brown rice and things like that will give you some added protein for vegans.
Yeah, I feel like soy and pea
Sure, yes.
protein are the
Yes.
closest to containing all the amino acids that your animal products would have. Would collagen powder be a good option instead of something like protein powder?
So collagen powder, I don't really work a lot with that, and I haven't really introduced it into anything in my program. So I know collagen does help with inflammation in our joints, and it does for some elasticity and things like that. But I don't do a tremendous amount of supplements. I usually try to focus more on whole foods.
Yep, and collagens does supply protein, so that can work.
Yes.
Peanut butter and nuts, a customer suggested too.
Yes. Mhm.
I may have missed this as I had a call after I logged in, but how many grams of protein do you recommend at each meal and or daily for women over 55?
So I would aim for 20 to 30 grams of protein for each meal.
Yep. Is quinoa a good source of vegan protein?
Quinoa is more of a grain, but it does have some protein values to it.
Yep. So it's a way to get a little protein in with your grain. So wanna,
Sorry, that's my grandson in the back.
oh, that's okay.
Mhm.
How important is hydration for older
Yeah.
adults? And are
Well,
there signs of dehydration that we should be on the lookout for?
hydration is such an important question and such an important issue because when it comes to hydration, as older adults, we face some unique challenges because our kidneys don't conserve water as well. And this puts us at a higher risk of dehydration. And on top of that, we're taking some certain medications like diuretics and blood pressure pills, which can cause the body to lose even more fluid. But the tricky part is that older adults don't always feel thirsty. So even when your body actually needs water, you don't feel like you do. So instead of waiting for thirst, it's better to look for subtle signs like fatigue and confusion, or dry mouth, or your urine gets darker. And dehydration doesn't make you feel tired, but it can lead to things like constipation, urinary tract infections, and it even has an impact on our brain function. So staying hydrated helps to support our digestion, our memory, and our concentration, and even our joints. But one thing about getting in enough fluid is that some older people avoid drinking too much because of fear of incontinence or needing to use the bathroom often, which is understandable. Drinking less though actually makes you feel worse, And when the urine is too concentrated, it actually will irritate your bladder and increase your urgency or leakage. Uh, Dehydration itself does raise the risk of infections and other health issues. So, what's the best approach? Aim for a glass of fluid at every meal. And fluid doesn't always have to be plain water, it can be sparkling water, milk, tea, coffee, broth, um, water rich foods like watermelon, which seems to be my jam for the summer. I will tell you, I'm enjoying so much watermelon. I love it. Cucumbers, oranges, soups, yogurts, all those things make a big difference. And sip throughout the day. And if you're concerned with, getting up to go to the bathroom too much during the evening, move your intake of fluid up to earlier parts of the day. And also cut back on caffeine and alcohol because those also irritate your bladder.
Excellent. I saw you got a lot of customer emoji love there
Yeah.
during that comment, so it must have hit home with a lot of people. So thank you. I'm going to
Mhm.
jump back to the protein discussion because we have quite a few customer questions now on protein.
Mhm.
Can too much protein have any harmful effects?
So one of the things about protein, if so my mind immediately goes to the science of what the molecular molecule looks like for the protein. And so with that molecular structure, you're cutting that nitrogen off. And so you have to have enough fluid intake to move that nitrogen throughout your body. So as your protein increases, so should your fluid intake.
All right. How many eggs for a meal to get enough protein?
You know, eggs, I would say that about 3 eggs would give you a good serving of protein, but not everybody can eat 3 eggs, so, you don't have to eat it all at one time. You can space it out.
Or you can do 2 eggs with a little
2 eggs
cheese
with the
and
little cheese,
yeah,
exactly. Yep, exactly.
or a
Yeah.
side of nuts or something like that. Can long-term protein deficiency be reversed?
Yes, yes, you can start to build your protein back up the same way you can build back up your muscles. If you're, depending on the reasons why you're in a protein deficit would, impact the way you start adding that back in. But adding it back in, yes, you definitely can reverse that.
All right, here's the question. Does Latanya find that the senior population, particularly people, seem to be more open to taking an infusion or pill or protein or calcium over eating food? My friends seem to be afraid of gaining weight by eating.
So the one thing about taking a lot of supplements and replacing it with food, again, the supplements are easy to take, but it can be costly. And depending on what the need is, some people do like to rely on um, drinks, shakes, things like that, that have those higher grams of protein in it. But you're still missing out on a lot of essential nutrients that your body needs. So the concern shouldn't be about gaining weight. The concern should be about eating the right nutrients that your body needs. So if you're looking at fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, those are not going to cause you to gain weight. You're looking at gaining weight when you're adding in too much sugar, you're adding in too much fat, you're adding in fried foods, and you're not moving enough. So the more we move, the more that we, more calories expend. And muscle burns more calories than fat. So all of these other foods, the lean proteins, the fruits and vegetables are going to be good for your body, good for your health, good for your digestion, your brain, all of that.
So we should prioritize health over weight.
Prioritize health right over our weight.
Great. And I feel like you just answered this question, but a customer is asking it, so I'm going to ask anyway. Are products like Ensure or Ensure with protein good as a meal replacement for someone that doesn't feel hungry?
I would say, yeah, I would go, if you're not feeling hungry, but you are able to get something in to drink and you can get the Ensure in, absolutely. We have a lot of seniors because as we get older, we have what we call anorexia of age. We are less interested in food as we get older. So, for example, right now, my mom, who is 91, her go-to is cheese and crackers, a bowl of cereal, and we do provide her with Ensure so that she gets that protein that she needs because as we get older, we tend to want to not expend too much energy in eating and chewing and those types of things. And our diets can become full of soft, starchy foods that don't actually meet our need. Oh, so I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Go.
I didn't know he was going to be home today.
Yep. So a customer says they've been hearing about intercellular hydration. Is this really a thing?
I have not heard of intracellular hydration. I haven't looked at any research in that, so I would have to circle back around on that.
And my guess is it's a thing when you're selling a product.
Of course, yeah.
Um, Comment helps prevent kidney stones.
The intracellular, I'm
I
not
don't know. Do you
following
have any comment about that? I don't know.
about preventing kidney stones.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of those things are hereditary, and I really,
Drinking enough helps
I was gonna
prevent kidney
say,
stones.
yeah, I was gonna say also drinking enough fluid and staying hydrated.
Yep. Do you know if there's a formula to use for the amount of water you should consume? I have seen your weight divided by 2 is the amount of ounces you should drink. And that is the rule of thumb.
Right. I was gonna say just exactly what you've already just said.
When you say a glass, is that 8 ounces?
Yes, the glass is 8 ounces.
Can type 2 diabetes be reversed without medication?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All the things that we've talked about, and I've seen this occur, while you may not actually totally eliminate it, you certainly can bring your A1C down. I think once you get that diagnosis in your record, it might stay there. But you can bring your A1C down, and that's through, again, taking control and looking at quality over the quantity of things that you're eating, looking at the things that um, uh, uh, um, impact your health. So, when you're looking at you know, um, uh, eating the lean meats, eating the fruits and the vegetables, and pairing those with a healthy fat because that also helps. That also helps the to balance your blood sugar. So you want to make sure that you have that healthy fat in there as along with the lean proteins, and then of course always getting some exercise.
And I agree 100% with what you said, but I'm just going to add, like, this is not telling you not to take your medication by any means. If you need medication, still continue to do that and work with your physician. All right. So, what are some practical tips for someone juggling maybe multiple dietary restrictions?
So when you're trying to juggle multiple dietary restrictions, focus on what you can eat and not what you can't eat. And try to plan your meals around versatile ingredients and, use substitutions when you have to. Um, Prepping, in advance can make your meals more enjoyable, but the most important thing I would suggest is talking with a registered dietitian and getting some advice. Um, depending on what your restrictions are, they can certainly guide you in the right direction.
Yep. Customer says they've heard that Ensure, taken as a meal replacement without any other food, can lead to diarrhea. Is that
Yeah,
true?
yes, yes. You don't have any fiber in there.
Yep. Does eating fresh corn and potatoes together provide a complete protein?
No. Corn has some protein, potato has some protein, but it's no.
They're starchy
They're
vegetables,
starchy vegetables,
so
exactly.
not the highest in protein.
No.
What's
They
the
taste
deal
good, but they're not the highest.
what's the deal with quinoa?
What do you mean?
That's just what a customer
Oh,
said.
just the question.
Yep.
Quinoa is a whole grain and it's versatile. You can do a lot of things with it, and it's easy to prepare, and you can use it in substitution in so many things. Instead of rice, you can have quinoa. I've seen recipes for overnight quinoa for breakfast cereals, things like that. So it's just, I don't want to say the latest craze because it's not a craze, but it's a grain that's been around for a long time.
Yep, and has some protein, so it
It has
doesn't
some
spike
protein,
blood
yes.
sugar like the
Right.
others.
Yes.
Is there such a thing as too much water?
Um, that's really rare. You can become overhydrated, but for most of us, as we get older, being overhydrated really would not be my first concern. Dehydration would be my main concern for seniors.
So I have not heard this new fad, but the new fad is encapsulating placenta and mixing it in a smoothie. This sounds nutty. Would the FDA have to regulate that?
Um, I think that certainly needs some clinical trial studies, and I'm not sure. That sounds nutty. I'm going to go with that. I have not heard that. Have you heard that, Joni?
I have not heard that at all.
Not heard that one
Not
at all.
something I'd put my money into. My kidney doctor restricts me to 50 ounces of fluid a day,
Mhm.
adding more only during high temperatures over 98 degrees. That doesn't sound like a question. That was just a comment. Thank you for that. How do you get rid of menopause belly?
Ooh, I'm wanting to know that secret myself. Uh, again, along with anything else, really, it's going to be a targeted effort, focus on what you're eating, um, um, getting the nutrients that you need, nutrient dense foods, and exercise. As far as if, the hormonal things and all that, I would suggest you talk to your doctor about those.
What vitamins and minerals should we prioritize as we age?
So the vitamins and minerals that we need to prioritize as we get older are mostly, I would look at B12 as one of the big ones, because as the acid in our stomach, we are able to less absorb vitamin B12. And calcium is a very big one for bone density, and getting in a lot of leafy greens so that we can get some of those antioxidant values, and that we can also, it adds to our bone health as far as that goes with the leafy greens. A lot of those have calcium in them. So B12, calcium, and fiber, although it's not considered a vitamin or a nutrient, but fiber is essential for maintaining gut health.
Excellent. Thank you. So, many older adults live alone or they
Mhm,
tend to cook less. What are
mhm.
some easy, affordable meal ideas for just one or two people?
So, one of my favorites is I like to get a rotisserie chicken, and you can break that down and use it in multiple meals. You can make a chicken salad, you can make a quesadilla with it, or you could just simply have a piece of chicken with with a vegetable. Um, Also, scrambled eggs. You just cannot go wrong with having eggs. You can scramble eggs or make an omelet. You can add in a variety of vegetables into that, as well as some cheese. Um, and then soups and, anything that you would want to prepare in a batch, you can separate into single servings and freeze it. All of those are just full of nutrients and quick and easy.
Yes, and somebody gives an example of their mother that had to have a restricted fluid intake, and again, we're talking general information, so we know
Mhm.
that it doesn't apply to everybody.
Right, exactly.
How can someone stay motivated to cook or eat well if they have a low appetite or they live with a limited mobility?
So I kind of have two parts to that question. So staying motivated to eat, when you eat with a friend and you eat in a social setting, it makes all the big difference. You find yourself just, munching and talking and, eating little bits. And before you know it, time's gone by and you've probably consumed what probably seemed insurmountable, like maybe even just a half a cup of sauteed spinach. You've already eaten the whole thing. But the thing about food is it's more food is more than just about the nutrition. It's about connection and how we connect together with people. When we share a meal, we create conversations and laughter and memories. And as we get older, this social side of eating becomes really important to us because it fights loneliness and it gives people something to look forward throughout the day. So, on a larger scale, for people who are maybe don't want to cook for just one person or two, and you're trying to stay motivated, the Older Americans Act has a senior nutrition program. The Older Americans Act is an act that was enacted by Congress to provide support to older adults. And so our senior nutrition programs have two programs: congregate meal program, which is where you can come together at a church, a senior center. Um, they're nationwide, so reach out to your area agency on aging or your state uh, aging department, and you can find locations. All you have to do is just sign up for a meal, and the meals are essentially free. We request donations, but no one's ever turned away from a meal that needs a meal. And for those who can't get out, um, we have home delivered meals, and those home delivered meals are usually provided a lot by volunteers, and they provide wellness visits, they're friendly visits, and they do safety checks on people. So for um, those who need that service is available, and I highly recommend it. They're great programs. And again, they really don't cost anything. So the staying connected is the most important way of encouraging seniors to eat. Um, and if you have limited mobility, having a meal that's brought to you, that takes a lot of pressure and a lot of worry off of people and their loved ones.
Yep, and we have just like a minute left. Just want to
Mhm.
see, is there one nutrition myth that you just wish people would stop believing?
So, y- yes, that as we get older that we need to eat less because we don't want to gain weight when our bodies still need plenty of nutrients, and we need to support and even more because we have to support muscle, bone, brain health. So the key is to eat smarter. And one of the things that I like is to eat the rainbow. It's still valid. It still adds all the nutrients and minerals and things that our bodies need. And I just want to, just say if you have to make a decision about a myth, not make a decision about a myth. If you have to debunk a myth, we need nutrients more than we need all of that extra foods that are there. So food truly is medicine, and just, you know, getting in the nutrients will make you feel better.
And I'm going to interrupt for a second just to
Sure,
say,
go ahead.
what does eat the rainbow mean?
So eat the rainbow. That's all of the different colors of fruits and vegetables. So we have I've got my cheat sheet over here. So we have the reds, which tomatoes and oranges and strawberries that provides heart health. We have the orange, which is sweet potatoes, pumpkin, mangoes for eye health. Yellow, which the pineapples, corn, bananas for immunity. Greens, which are spinach or kale or broccoli. Avocados, they provide bone health support. Blueberries, blackberries. I love blackberries, and they assist with brain health. Purple things like grapes, figs, eggplants for heart health. And then the whites and the browns, garlics, mushrooms, onions, all aid in our immunity. So eating the rainbow is eating all of the colors of the natural foods. The deeper the color, the richer the nutrients.
Thank you so much. So we are just about time. So it's been great talk. You got a lot of positive comments. I was trying to share some as we go. Just lots
Oh,
of thank yous for sharing your knowledge. People seem to learn a lot from this. And thank you everybody for attending. And we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Latanya.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.